What did you learn most about yourself competing at the national stage at the highest point in wrestling?
I think I learned that there's a lot of people that I don't know that work not just as hard as you, but there's a lot of people that um, are at a level that you may not have seen your whole life. And I think that when you're in grade school and high school and like junior things, there's kind of like a false sense of reality a little bit. And then when you go to college, it's like you got grown men that have done this their whole lives, and it's like the best of the best. It's like going to the NFL, right? Like you're the man, and how I say it is like, and Tom even says it like Tom Brands being my coach, like you want to be the BMOC, the big man on campus, like you got to do this and that and that. Growing up, like if you went to a Division I wrestling school, like you pretty much were the BMOC, like at your high school or like in that particular sport. And I think like in college, I don't know about myself. Like I would just say like there were just things that maybe I was leaving undone that like year after year, maybe I look back and just things didn't sit well with me, or like there were a few years where like I was never really satisfied, and I think that that always happens in sports, but college wrestling in general, it's very hard to go a season without like experiencing a loss or even to get taken down because I didn't like getting taken down either. So, but yeah,
Was there added pressure being an Iowa Hawkeye versus being an Ohio State Buckeye or Wisconsin
yeah.
Badger? What was the pressure of being wrestling for Iowa?
I think there's a pressure. I mean, a lot of the fans they're like hungry for a national title. Obviously, like every team and every guy out there is like, I want to be a national champ. But like at the University of Iowa, we have won the nationals 24 years like total, and I think that when you're when you're at a program like Iowa, there's a standard, and so there is pressure. But I think that I always tell my kids like in my youth club that like that kind of pressure can be made up like up here, like it's just completely made up, like it's what you make it, right? And so like the pressure that I put on myself is self-inflicted in my opinion, and then like it's standard for me, like so the standard of the program is my standard as well, so I'm just going to go out there and compete for them and because they want it and I want it, and it's easy to compete for a national title when your whole program and your whole fan base wants that for you, right? I don't really like take criticism like I don't know. Like I used to internalize a lot of things growing up, but now it's like everybody's gonna have an opinion, and everybody's not gonna be pleased. So no matter you win, if you're a four-time national champ, they're probably gonna still probably somebody out there that's gonna hate on you, hate on your style, hate on the way you win or the way you live your life. So, but yeah,
Did you have a process for that internal pressure? Because I know everybody deals and reframes pressure in a different light. Was there anything you did specifically that put it into perspective of what it really was?
yeah. I mean, my faith, like right, like um growing up I knew of God, knew who he was, and I knew that we were created all like for a purpose, and I think that it's just it you I mean you just think about like why are we all here, like why are we all doing this, like what does this all mean? And I feel like my faith grew when I met my wife back in 2011. I started dating my wife now, and then her brother Eli was very influential in my life, like with my faith. Their whole family was very influential, and then just started to get to know God more, and started to develop that relationship because that's what I truly feel that it is. And then just knowing now um, uh, what I knew then, and getting to college and growing in my faith at athletes in action on campus and things like that. Like you just kind of like you have to have a consistent meaning, and I feel like because sports can just sports and business and everything in life and everything under the sun is what I like to say is like can be very volatile, and it can just be very fragile. And if you put a lot of weight into it, the pressure is going to get to you. And I feel like for me, that my confidence and who I am as a person and knowing who I am is I'm Jesus trained is like that's my mantra. That's like I wear a T-shirt that says Jesus trained before a match, not to like get the gold or like for that to be like a lucky rabbit's foot, but to put him on display because he's given me this opportunity to play and or to wrestle. So um, I feel like I just knowing like I am loved no matter the outcome after I get off the mat. right? So like when I step out on the mat, oh, I'm gonna win. I have a confidence. It's like it's not just like a feeling. Like a lot of people want to feel confident. It's like I am convicted. Like I feel convicted. Like I feel convicted that I'm confident that I'm gonna win because for what like I've put in the work. And I'm confident that I'm stronger or I'm tougher or I'm mentally tougher than this guy and I can last longer. And that kind of alleviates the pressure for me, right? So who I am as a person, like what I stand for as an athlete, kind of like develop my way of dealing with pressure. So
My listeners are going to start to think that I'm bringing up faith on purpose with all my athletes because recently the trend has been with a lot of the successful athletes that I have had on have a deep relationship with their faith.
yeah.
At what point did your faith really begin to take over your life day to day and really the way you behaved and the way you lived out your life?
I think it was just back when I had a mentor, and I still do. I just talked to him recently. Nathan Burak, who wrestled at Iowa. He's a 197 pounder. Really great dude. He was my basically my discipler. Like he was my mentor in athletes in action. He took me through Bible studies, and he basically equipped me as an athlete to share my faith, share my testimony, lead Bible studies, and make disciples. And basically, it was kind of when he shared an analogy with me, right? And a lot of people have heard this. Like if you have a plate that has a lot of, it's got sectioned off food. A lot of people like to put Jesus in like a corner, right? And just like get to him when they need him. And I do this too. I mean, everybody's not perfect. Like sometimes you pray when things are bad. You often don't pray when things are great, like when you got it, right? And so Jesus really is God is the plate, right? He's got everything. He's not just a section, right? And now you may have wrestling, you may have your family, you may have your sport or your business or whatever it is, your school. But God's got it all, and He's all like it's all working together, right? It's all like it's all His, and if you treat something like that you're in control and you're the commander of the ship, it's going to go the way you don't think it's going to go most of the time. Now, like, it's good that it's good to hear that most of the people that you talk to are big in their faith and a lot of like their performance changes, but a lot of times that doesn't happen, right? So, like, some people, I'm going to like go to Christ and I'm going to be a champion. It's like, I always tell kids, like, that doesn't, it's not why you should do it. Like, that's a fleeting thing to think. And I think that, giving God the glory, win or lose. Because a lot of times you see on interviews or right after the football game, they put a mic in front of the person's face and they're like, I want to give God the glory. Like, heck yeah, like awesome. And then when that people lose, like that's not typically interviewed, but that's when it's hard to give the God the glory, right? Right? Like it's easy to say like God did this, God did it, God's plan when it's going great, but when it's tough, like you want like I mean I've gotten that way, and I've been in situations where um like I lost at the national tournament in the quarterfinals, and I that was kind of a common theme in my looking back is quarterfinals. I made it to the semis one year at the national tournament. My year that we won the nationals, I didn't all American because I had to drop out. I got injured in the quarterfinals in overtime. Ended up hurting my rib, and I couldn't get out of the hotel bed. And Nathan Burak, my buddy who I was just talking about, was sitting right by me. He was carrying me to the bathroom, and he was like making sure I was good and seeing if I could go wrestle the next match. And he was sitting by me, praying for me, putting his hands on me, and just saying like it's gotcha and things like that, really positive affirmations. But I looked to him and I'm like, God, doesn't God want me to be happy? Like, and he's like, Alex, he's like, this is gonna hurt to hear, but God necessarily doesn't want you to be happy. He wants you to be holy. And like that to me was like, dude, like joyfulness, happiness is like two different things to me, right? So like I'm totally joyful knowing God's gonna use that experience that I went through, not being an All American or not being a national champion that year, along with my teammates and going through pain, hurting. I mean, I was out for 6 months with a rib injury. Um, it sucked, and God wanted me to be holy through that. He commanded me to. Because nowhere in the Bible does it say like you pray and you receive Christ, you're going to be happy forever, right? Because there's the storm's going to come, and just my mentors, I'd stick around and surround myself with, allow me to grow in my faith. So
There's a couple different things I pick up there on there. So recently, I just wrote a piece called "Why being is better than doing. I forget the exact title
Mhm.
of the article, but when I wrote that, I was thinking about it actually in a lens of faith. I may not have referenced faith in the post itself, but what I mean by why being is better than doing is when you're doing something, you're doing it for an intended outcome.
Mhm.
So when you say, I'm going to pray so I can win a national championship, or I'm going to become faithful so I can, right, get to heaven. And of course, that's
Mhm.
a piece of being faithful,
Mhm.
as opposed to when it just becomes who you are and your actions reflect that piece of you
Yes.
being
Yes.
faithful or
Yeah.
religious,
Yeah.
right?
That's a good
The
point, man.
being will lead to the actions, right? And
Yes.
not doing the actions to get to be faithful,
Yes. It's not
if
by
that makes
works, it's
sense.
works by sure. Like it's not by works so that no one can boast. And I feel like there was a time in my year, or it was a time in my life in the locker room, and you know how like locker rooms can get, it can expletives will fly and things like that. And I was talking with Birak, and I was like, Nathan, like how I needed to work on my cussing, right? Like I just felt like what you do and say should glorify the Lord, and like if you say you're one thing, you should like act on it. And he's like, quit focusing on cussing and working on focus on glorifying the Lord. And so like if you truly call yourself a Christian, or you truly tell yourself that you want to honor, and what you say and do should honor and glorify the Lord, like then cussing maybe isn't like in line with it, right? Like foul language, like and just thoughts in general, and maybe you're going to transform the way you think, or that when you truly are living in a relationship with Christ and you are living that life, like I just feel like to that point, instead of just like being like I'm not going to cuss today, I'm going to go in the locker room and just I'm going to like have a clean mouth, I'm going to think the right way. And then it's like you're not even really thinking about glorifying the Lord, you're just thinking about living the right lifestyle. And it's, as humans, we're going to freaking fail. Like I mean, it's not a cop out to say that and say that we're all sent from, I'm just going to fail, so I'm going to fail. Like it's just who we are in our human nature. So
And that's the other piece of it. And when I reflect from a non-faith base, from like an identity lens, who you are as a person, at
mm-hmm.
first, when you're aiming to become someone, there is an act of doing. But then once you become, your doing becomes an act of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I talk about, and you articulated this as a man of faith, when you are in your lowest points, that is the price to pay to earn your
Mm-hmm.
faithfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Just like as an identity, if I want to be someone who's courageous, I have to go through an event that enables me to be
Right,
courageous.
right.
And so the reframe when you're in those stages is, this is my opportunity
Yeah,
to
well, this
earn
is
that.
what you
This
prayed
is
for.
part of who.
Yeah, yeah, this is what you prayed for, right? Like I'm like, God, give me the strength, or it's like God's gonna give you opportunities to show your strength, right? Like God's gonna give you opportunities to show me my courage and my slow to angerness, right? Like I get angry quick. Like I'm just like that's just too. I'm not patient. And what is the fruit of it, right? It's love, patience, kindness, gentleness, self control. Like a lot of those things you pray for, and then it's like it happens, and it's like God's like, I'm literally giving you what you say you want, but you gotta like it's gotta be you, man. You know what I mean? Like to an extent, right? I'm not all powerful, but I can definitely take some accountability in some things. So
I think that's the important part too, is we're all a work in progress. We are all continuing to grow and evolve, and understanding that comes with it. And one failure, one hiccup doesn't define you. It's your response to those things, and making sure that a singular mistake or a singular loss doesn't turn into a habitual form
right,
of those mistakes, of those losses.
right, yeah.
You mentioned this, and you said your big thing was the quarterfinals.
Mm.
Was it a mental block for when you'd get to that quarterfinal match, or what was it that you felt was your biggest obstacle at that stage?
I don't know. Maybe it's like matchup styles. I mean, I look back at those matches, and it's funny. Like every year that I lost at the nationals, I lost, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know why. I just think this way, and it's like I lost by like a takedown, like one takedown, like caused that match. So like it wasn't like I got blown out of the water, and I got killed and I got major decision or tech fault. Like the first year I got beat in the semis, and that was like 4-2. But then like years after that, it was like right at the end with like 10 seconds left, I got taken down. It was in overtime, and then it was in overtime. So it was like putting a complete match together was just something that I didn't done, and I felt like, and it's funny, the year that I lost my final year, I had beaten that guy in the Big Ten finals the year before, so or like not the year before, literally the week before, like 2 weeks before. So you're like I don't think it was, to me it wasn't like an overconfidence. I don't like to ever like give people too much credit, but then also I don't want to like look down on them because they're all tough and they're all ready to, like they're all wanting to beat me. So I just think, to me it's like I didn't end up capitalizing on a certain couple of things, and it would have went my way. Like there was one instance in that match my senior year where I got in the takedown situation, and then the coach challenged it, and then it got taken back. And then it's like if I would have if that wouldn't have happened, there's no way that guy would have taken me down. Like but some things you got to roll with it, and then you got to get the takedown in overtime. So it's a lot of like reflecting of like why did it happen? I mean, God wanted that to happen, or God allowed that to happen. But also, it's like how much control am I in that situation? Like I talked to Terry Brands about it. Like tough thing about losses in sports and in wrestling in general is like, because you're the only one out there. Am I the one in control, or is like how much does God allow to, like it's like obviously like it's all God's plan. Like I didn't win a national title, I didn't make the Olympic team at the Olympic trials. Like that's God's plan. But at the same time, like how much can I, like I don't know, like it's just I don't like not being in control. And when you're out on the mat, you pretty much are. But it's like how much are you? It's like when you experience a loss as of with a like with a family member, you have a death in the family, that is completely like you're not in control at all. Like it's a lot of it's like in God's hands. Free things happen, but um, when you're in a wrestling match, it's like you're pretty much everything you think is in control. And then something like that happens, you really beat yourself up. But it's like giving it to God is like the biggest thing that I've done. Then reflecting like how different my life be had I become a national champion. Like that's something that Terry's like helped me out with, is like because I still not frequently, periodically, like have some nightmares, just like athletes always do. Is like you wake up and you're like you realize that you didn't get it done, or you had a dream that you kind of relive it. But Terry's like, if you were a national champion, you had that trophy when you got home, and you put it on, like what, how different would your life be? Like yeah, you could call yourself a national champion forever, and nobody can take that away from you. But like a lot of this stuff, I mean, we talk about it, you can't die with a national title. Like you, that'll always be on the wall, but like it's not going to save me. Like it's not going to save me from going to hell or heaven. So like for me, like that's just kind of like giving me to know that like it is sports, it is a sport. So don't put too much weight into it, but it does matter to me. So it's kind of tough.
What do you think was the difference between Big Tens and NCAs? Was it the style of tournament? Was it the number of matches? How different
Yeah, yeah.
is duel from tournament style?
I think a little bit of both, right? The years that I won it, so for those listening that haven't known, like not to like pat myself on the back, I won four Big Ten titles, and then I was All American three times, but one with COVID because I was like ranked number one that year going into COVID year, and then they canceled the nationals. But I mean, I don't know. Like looking back, like when you're the 1 and 2 seed at the Big Tens, you have a bye those first rounds, and then you have threes, and then you're national or you're Big Ten champ, right? So like you win one, and then you're in the semis, and then you win another one, you're in the finals, and then you like have one more match. At the nationals, like you have two every day, except for the last day. So like it's like match, and then match, and then your finals, right? So it's only like two more matches, like five matches, but um, guys, just I mean, you're making weight three times now, but I don't know. Guys get amped up for nationals, man. Like they get like Big Ten. Sometimes, like I've seen guys forfeit in the finals because they care about nationals. Like, and I've seen that multiple times where you forfeit, and I mean my teammates have had to do that. And then it's like you care about winning the national title, and to me it's like I cared about a lot, and maybe I put too much weight into dual meets, too much weight into Big Tens, right? But I don't regret doing that because I cared a lot when I went out on the mat. So, but
When you measure your own career, do you feel you lived up to your own potential?
I don't. I had the potential I had for myself. that's the hardest part when people are like, dude, be proud of your career. And you probably get this too, right? Like you went so far and you're a four-time Big Ten champ. Like there's people that would kill to, and I'm appreciative of the relationships I've had and the things that Iowa has given me and the things that my high school coach has given me and the lessons learned. And but when you set out for a goal and you don't get it, I mean, I was thinking about it every single day. Like I was like, every day you wake up, the things you do are to get you to that goal. Like it's not like you just wake up and you don't have an agenda of your life. Like it's like, what do I eat? How do I sleep? You do it to win. So it's now it's like yes, like I'm coaching and I do it to keep my body healthy and things like that and to give back to the sport. But you set out for a goal and you don't get it. It's really tough. And it's I don't ever want to sound like unappreciative to the fans of like, oh, like I'm just down on myself because I did have a good career. I did have something that is something to be proud of. But when you don't win and it's like you were number one in the country, however many years going into it, it's pretty you get pretty sick of it. So just kind of frustrated. And you try to help people that you coach now not experience it. So hopefully they can be better than me.
The problem I have with it, and honestly related to something I talked about, honestly, with watching my daughters grow up, it's like the balance between gratitude and heartache.
Mm,
Like I reflected my own career. Most people would say I overachieved. In my mind, I severely underachieved.
right.
And that doesn't mean that I'm not grateful for the things that I did accomplish, but it's I had, like you said, an expectation for myself, goals that I wanted to hit, things that I worked towards that at least I felt were achievable. It didn't matter what anybody else thought, but to
Right.
myself, it was achievable. And
Right.
when you fall below those standards, it doesn't mean I'm not grateful for everything I did achieve. It it means I still wanted more for myself.
Right.
And I think any competitive you athlete, I bet if you asked Tom Brady, he would say he underachieved.
Right.
Right? Just the general nature of competitive athletics is, and anyone who's just competitive in any field
Right.
is the more you climb the ladder, the more you still want to achieve. Now, I believe there's a healthy component of that, and maybe some of what we experience is unhealthy,
Right.
but it's just that competitor's mindset that,
Right.
hey, I did want more for myself and I just didn't get there. So it's that tough strike between gratitude and heartache
Right.
of happy of what I accomplished, but the heartache of not accomplishing what I set out to.
Right. Because like seeing guys that are four timers and four-time national champs and Kale Sanderson went undefeated and things like that. It's like I know I was like I can go out there and I can be so consistent and I can go out there and do the same thing. I can go win nationals. Like I knew that I had it in me, and I just fell short. And it is what it is. It is life, and you just got to keep going. But it's one of those things that like I just try to not let my kids do it. Like I'm at the point of my life where I agree. Like I have a daughter, like we've talked about as well, and I'm gonna be like appreciative of I am. It's kind of funny. Like we look at our kids and we expect them to be perfect, but we're not perfect. And it's like she's learning and she's developing things and she's getting disciplined every day. And but it's like sometimes I need the same thing, and it's one of those things that like uh, I don't know, just being appreciative of the process and like we're all no matter how old we get, we're all gonna make mistakes and hopefully we can minimize them. But it's kind of funny being in that dad role where you kind of see like a little kid, you can see yourself in her, and then it's like man, like I'm I am developing just as she is, but she's like just on a different scale. So
I'll say one of the greatest developments for myself was when my daughter was born, and as she continues to get older and I try to educate, discipline her and my other daughter as well, and then my future son coming here,
mm,
the more I learn that they model behavior.
mm,
And so for me, it's been the greatest teaching for myself was I can't ask anything of my kids that I am not willing to do myself.
right,
And it's the same thing when I work with athletes.
right,
If I am going to teach, write, or speak about a topic,
mm,
it cannot be fake. It has to be consistent with who
right,
I am, or else it loses all meaning and all purpose if I'm not actively living that out. And to me, there's been no greater teacher in life. And like I said earlier, there's a price to pay for certain things.
Hmm.
When I ask stuff of someone else, or when I am speaking or writing, if I don't live out those behaviors, then what impact does my writing or words actually have? It just
Hmm.
becomes fraudulent.
Yeah,
And the
very empty.
most important thing for me is to be authentic and real.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I
Something to sorry to cut you off, something that you said right along those lines. I listened to a clip you posted working with some of your young wrestlers, and you were talking about that working hard piece, and you kept saying, "You'll know."
yeah.
Right? At the end of the day, when you go to
Yeah,
bed,
only
you'll
you know.
know.
Only you know who knows for sure. I feel like it's so true. Like there's coaches, and when you get to the point where you're like evaluating athletes or whatever, it's like, oh, you did great this year, Johnny, or oh, you did great. Like you're doing your push-ups, you're doing that. It's like, could you do more? You know, like you know if you're holding back, or you know if you've worked your hardest, or like you know. Now it's like what's hard work is like it's because it's kind of like relative, right? Like I feel like a lot of people have talent and they don't necessarily need to work that hard to like win, but it's gonna catch up to them, right? It's gonna catch up to them. I feel like, but for me, like I tell my athletes like, and it's a Terry Brand's philosophy, right? Like you know who knows for sure, because I'm not you, and you know that if you're holding yourself accountable up here and the decisions you make off the mat and on the mat, and things like that. Like I just because I tell my kids like I am not your parent, and if I was, like it would be a lot easier to keep tabs on you. But you see me 2 hours a night or whatever, and then you see me on the weekends at tournaments and things like that. But like when you go home, or when you're in the classroom, or when you are like waking up every morning, like when you're going to bed, are you doing push-ups when you wake up or go to bed? Like are you eating the right way? Are you sneaking junk food at your house? Like how's your weight? Are you drinking enough water? Like only you know, because it's going to be on you. And like I wish that's the tough thing coaching is like you can't control everybody, and you can't. And that's I'm sure Tom and Terry looking out me wrestle at the nationals, I'm sure they wanted to freaking control me like a PlayStation 4 controller, right? Like they could like do something to get me to win. But that's the hard part about coaching. And the beautiful thing of it is like, yeah, you can't control everybody, and you got to let them blossom and let them either fail or succeed, or you always got to lift them up and lead them to hopefully victory. But yeah, so it's good. It's good.
Now, the psychological warfare of what's enough is something I really struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
How do you measure what's enough?
Mm-hmm. It's tricky. I think there's a lot of things online of like what now they're getting to like test your body, test your oxygen stuff, test your like this and that, like how much output you have in your body. Like I don't know. Like I just think the technology these days can help you, and because I feel like back in the day it was, and it's still like there's no magical pill, but I always tell kids like you know if you're hitting if you're getting in off season or off practice times reps and like drilling, because I feel like everybody wants the real thing. They want to go live, and the next thing you know you create bad habits. It's like you go and do your 2 hour practice that everybody else does. That is not enough to be elite, to be like the Tom Brady that you want to be, or to be the wrestler you admire, that's really good, because they were doing something that set them apart, builds more strength than the other guy. And I feel like that was a struggle with me growing up, but I thought that I had a good plan of doing, for example, I did 300 push-ups every day and 2,000 jump rope, like every single day. And whether it was like, I think I was around like 8 or 9 years old. So like that some third grade kid, they're like, this guy's a psycho. But like I craved it and I wanted it. And I was like, you know what I mean? Like this little kid's doing these push-ups and these jump ropes, and um like, but I loved it. And I thought that that made the difference. Like I thought that like, no, it made me stronger, and it probably made me in better shape doing jump rope and things like that. And then I went to club practice, and then I went to my local youth practice. So like there's just there's things that you can read online, like are you eating the right foods, are you doing, and you can work hard at different things, right? Like don't always work hard physical. And I'm sure you'll touch on that. Is like for me, And I always tell my kids 90% of wrestling, and they say this in sports in general, are mental. Like 90% of wrestling is mental. And we're partnering here pretty soon with an organization called Athletes Mentor. They're local for Iowa, and they'll like work with our athletes on like creating like a Hawkeye Wrestling Academy like club specific like program curriculum that they'll go through for the next 3 months. And for me, I'll get their wrestling under control, and I'll teach them everything they want about wrestling. I'll always preach to them about how to grow their nutrition, and their sleep and things like that, how to like adjust that and be a mentor that way. But off the mat, if you don't train that mental, you're gonna it's just gonna be really hard to like keep that up. It's gonna be really hard.
What
But,
was the biggest mental advice or coaching that you got that made the biggest difference for yourself?
ooh, that's tough. Um, so we do this thing. It's called 10-minute toughness, and it's off of a book. And I don't know.
As I say, I have that book actually on my shelf back
Yeah,
there. So
10-minute toughness.
I
Yeah.
may I
So
may know where you're going with this, but let's hear it.
yeah, like just knowing who you are, like basically it's like got identity statement. It's got a performance goal, like performance statement. It has like and then creating like a routine every day. You like say it's 10 minutes a day. Like like I know I'm not the Alex Marinelli that I want to be when I don't start my day off with reading like staying in the word or like just doing the right things. Like I mean, it goes as simple as putting the water into your body to like be hydrated throughout the day. If you don't put the right things in, you're not going to get as much out. It's kind of like cutting weight. A lot of people think I shouldn't be eating and drinking because I want to be lighter. Actually, you eat 2 more pounds than you think. You're going to have more fuel to burn more, right? And so, like, just I mean, it's got to be right fuel, but it's the same thing when you're investing time, like say 10 minutes a day, which is nothing because there's 24 hours in the day. Like you're I don't know, you're just going to be more bulletproof than you think when you walk out on the mat or when you're at practice because you don't work that mental game and that mental toughness. It's just your body's going to somewhat give in at some point because your brain's not going to take over. So your body's gonna tell your brain like, hey, give in, dude. Like we're hot, we're tired, and then your brain's gonna be like, all right, I don't even know who I am, and I don't even know why I'm doing this, so I'm just gonna be done.
The couple things I want to touch on here. First, I want to go to you talked about when you were 8, 9 years old and you were doing the ridiculous amount of jumping jacks and other exercises. Were you always innately obsessed, or did you have to learn and develop, or was it both?
It's a little bit of both. I think it was an unhappy relationships with sports that I created with like kind of like dysfunction with my family. Like you do good, and then your like family names like talked about or whatever. But like that's a whole nother like topic. But like I just feel like I don't know. I just craved like my dad put me in wrestling when I was younger with my and I kind of took to it pretty well. And then I loved football. I loved hitball. I loved like scoring touchdowns. I loved hitting home runs and doing baseball and things like that. I was an athletic guy. I always liked to play outside. I was always active. I had that in me, but it was just like I don't know. I just wanted to achieve greatness, and I wanted to be the best in the country. And my dad kind of like I don't know. He facilitated that. He helped it. He like we drove around the country, and he got me my first jump rope. My serious jump rope was from a guy named Buddy Lee. So I don't know if you know who that is, but he's like a famous like professional boxer. Like I think he was a wrestler actually, but he was very good at jump roping. He bought me his DVD. He did like a seminar thing at like a wrestling tournament one time. So like I saw him and I'm like that's incredible. He was doing all kinds of like jump rope tricks and things like that, and then ended up getting good. And then my talent in like third grade, like in front of the whole school, I did like a jump rope routine thingy, and it was like looking back, that's like cringy to me, like doing a talent show jump rope thing. But like that's just who I was as a kid. Like I just love to be active. Some of my buddies like wouldn't even hang out with me because they just wanted to play Madden on PlayStation 2 all the time. So I just wanted to go out and play basketball or whatever. I was always that guy.
That's that commitment piece too, I went through similar things, right? I mean, when I was even at a young age, like I would never be home until like 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, same.
Like,
Yeah,
I would go to school and then I had sports, I had training, I had more sports.
yeah,
Playing 3 sports throughout high school,
yeah, yeah,
like, I wouldn't get home until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Like, I
yeah,
would get home and, like, my stepdad would be asleep on the couch. On the weekends, like, I was playing sports. I didn't have time. Now, of course, I played, video games and, like, hung out
right,
with
right,
friends, but
right.
it was not often.
No,
Like, but I didn't know any different. Like,
right,
that was to me, I was, like, okay with that. Like, I
yeah,
loved competing and getting better. Like, that's
right,
what my life was, and I think
right,
that there is a component that is naturally in my genetics. I
yeah,
also think that there's the component I had to learn and adapt, but
yeah,
I think a lot of kids struggle today, and I'm sure you see this with the young guys that you're training. They don't understand the true level of commitment. And as you get older, you have to understand to get to a certain level, there are trade-offs that you have to have.
right, yep,
And you have to look yourself in the mirror without judgment. That's the key
yeah,
part, without judgment, to determine either I am willing to commit to this or I'm not. And if I'm not, I need to stop having that desire in my life.
right, right,
And
right.
that I think is such a tough part for athletes.
Yeah, I think instant gratification is the problem. Like instant, everything's so quick these days. Everything's like you get it right now, and I feel like if you don't, a lot of people are like, "Screw it, I'm just like not going to do that. It's too hard." And I feel like there is a false sense of reality because of social media. I feel like there are like influencers or athletes that are like always faced or pushing their brand, and it's like some kids don't think that's attainable, or they think that it's like, well, I see what this guy's doing, so and I'm doing something similar, so why isn't that working? Well, actually what you don't get is that he's probably doing more work, he's just not posting that, or like, or he is gifted, or like he's putting more weight on the bar, or he's like waking up at 4:30 a.m. or 5 or whatever, and he's doing more workouts. I just think that um just what social media has done, and then also just like the generation thing. I mean, I know like there are club parents or just clubs in general where I talk to coaches and they're like, yeah, like my kid will be doing well. He'll have a really good winning percentage, but he didn't win at state, and they'll just club hop, and they'll leave because they'll be like, well, we didn't get what we wanted, and we think we're not getting the best, and then they'll just keep doing it. And it's like you stick to it and stay consistent. Um, Something special is going to happen. Like, and I think consistency is the hardest thing to get in kids right now. Is like they got to like feel it. They got to feel motivated. It's like I tell them, I'm like, motivation is not a feeling. Like it is, but it's like your motivation should be your goal. Like you, because you're gonna feel like you want to be a champion one of these days, or like you're gonna you want to do it. But why are you doing this? Is like the biggest thing. Like, are you doing it because your parents want you to do it, or are you doing it because you want to put a plaque on your wall, or be the best, or be a legend in the sport, or be someone that changes the sport, or like gets fans out of the stands when you're in Carver Arena? Like that to me, like they don't go up and get a carver comb when I wrestle. They stay in hands. They're excited. They're like, we loved you wrestling. Like that's what motivated me. Now I'm not doing it just to like please people, but at the same time, like my motivation is to be a national champion. Like my motivation is to now have the best academy in the country, have the best environment in the country, not just number one, right? Because like you could sacrifice your accolades for your culture accolades. You know what I mean? And so I don't think I don't think it's not fixable. I think there's always ways to help with the way kids are, but it's definitely tough when they have expectations and then they're like stuck in their own way and they're not coachable. I'm like, you kids got to be coachable to in order to make improvement. You know what I mean? So yeah,
The older you get and the more mature that you become as you become a young man or a young woman, for me, I had to begin to reframe and understand those deeper reasonings, those deeper whys.
yeah,
And for me, what I really unpacked it through, a series of questioning for myself was, why did I love football so much? Why did I love athletics so much? And like, what part of me draws to those things? And it really came down to three simple things. I love a mental challenge, I love an emotional challenge, and I love a physical challenge,
yeah,
right? And so for me, what it became was to be able to get away from some of those external validations or the instant gratification was I had to put myself in situations where I could check those boxes.
Yeah.
Am I challenging myself physically? Am I challenging
Yes.
myself emotionally? Am I challenging myself mentally?
Yeah.
And then to what degree? How deep and how aggressive am I challenging myself in those
Yes.
spaces? And so that's what I encourage younger athletes to do. I encourage professional, collegiate, at any depth, really start unpacking the why, like you said. What is it specifically? What draws you to this? What lights you up? What brings, what puts a fire in your soul?
Yeah.
And to be able to take it to a granular level so that you can pour your energy into that. So then we can get rid of the instant gratification. We can get
Right.
rid of, the external validation because it goes so much deeper than any accolade or anything that comes with it. And yes, those things are fantastic. I still have my jersey behind me. I have my
Yeah.
picture with the Bills over on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
I can't like those things are awesome and it's a reminder of the things I accomplished. But my why goes so much deeper than
But
that.
you'll miss like when you're retired or whatever, like and whatever you're doing, like whoever's watching this, like you will miss the grind, you will miss the fight, you will miss like the things that I love. Like it's funny. So a month ago, I think we touched on this when I saw you like a week in a tour ago. I got sick like a month ago, and I was like, I just didn't know what was up. I had some GMs, and I was out of commission for a while, and like probably like a good 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I found myself like not getting better, not because of like the health I was in, but like honestly, like I wasn't in the environment that I loved. Like I wasn't like when I got back to like getting in the wrestling room or like getting a lift in or like working out and like away from from my phone. Cause like when you're sick and 4 days in bed, you're not eating, like you're just doom scrolling and on your Instagram reels and stuff. Like it can literally put you in a hole. And I feel like that's kind of society. They just like I was like craving like a workout. I was craving like so now it's like I have to go in and scrap with some of the college guys. I can't wait to go pour into them and like when you for the workout, it's amazing how much better you feel. So it's like when something's taken from you or like you're not around it as much, it kind of like lets you evaluate um, certain things, and that's what helped with me like with injuries in the past is like Tom Brand told me like when I got injured, he's like, you will never forget how to wrestle. You will never forget how to wrestle. He's like, your shape may like get affected a little bit, but like this injury may be good for you to like take a break. Now, if it's like a career ending or like something that's like debilitating, like where you're right before nationals, you can't wrestle, that sucks. But like sometimes I'd hurt my knee and I'd have to like sit a weeks and it kind of gets you hungry a little bit more. Like it lets you realize that like it lets you appreciate being healthy. It's like having like a stuffy nose and then you're like, wait, I didn't have that. And you feel thankful when you didn't have one. But yeah, like for me, I think analyzing a lot of those things differently helps you go through those times. So yeah.
One thing I appreciate about you, especially getting to spend some time with you recently, is who you are on the mat and who you are off the mat are dramatically different people.
Well,
Dramatically different
well,
people.
you
I think
have
you
to
could
be.
watch you on the mat and objectively be like, this dude seems like a jerk. But
Yeah.
then off the mat, you are one of the nicest humans
Thanks, Steve.
ever. So
Thanks.
it's like, how do you balance that dynamic of personality?
I always tell my guys, kind off the mat, mean on the mat. Like you have like I always tell my kids like there's a difference between being nice and kind. Like to me, like kind is the fruit of spirit, right? Like patience, kindness. Like when you're a nice guy, you're kind of like a pushover. Like I don't want to be a guy that's like you meet and you're like, wow, that guy was fake. Like that guy was like acting like whatever. I want to be genuine. I want to be like, hey, like who are you? Like what makes you that way? Like kind of get to know you and just treat with respect. And then on the mat, I will go on the mat. And when I leave, I want you to not want to wrestle me again. Like that's what I want. Like that's what I want. Like I want you to be like at Big Tens or at a dual meet. After that, I want you to be like, man, I do not want to wrestle that guy again. That's gonna suck. And so like to me, it's like it's almost like a messed up, sick way of thinking. I want to humiliate him in front of 16,000 fans. Like I want to like absolutely push him and off the mat and just like make him put his head down. And I just that's just like my mentality. And the older I get, like I'm not that old. I'm only 27 and but when I'm in the college room, I still think that way. Like I have pride, and sometimes it sucks when I don't have great practices still because I am retired. I'm not in best shape of my life, but I want to do that because it's only gonna if I'm not wrestling my best for those guys, like they're not getting as good. So I kind of like I got to still keep it in me and stay in good shape. So, but yeah, I appreciate that. Appreciate that.
No, so the difference between nice and kind, fully in alignment. I do think there's a massive difference between being a nice person and a kind person.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'll always repeat this on the podcast that people need to become more definitive with the language that they choose and the words that they use and really give them definitions and understand their meaning so
mhm.
you can articulate and live through life
Right,
in a more clear lens.
right.
You know, be able to attach words to meaning and
Yeah,
live those actions out.
I love that.
But
Not to interrupt you. Like Terry,
no, please do.
correct. Yeah, well, Terry's corrected me before where I'll be like, I'll say something, I'll be like, hey, not gonna lie, but and he's like, well, why would you say that? Like, are you kidding me? Or are you gonna be truthful? Like, hey, I'm not gonna lie, but like, hey, whatever. Or like, hey, like, to be honest, this is what I'm thinking. It's like you're always gonna be honest. So like slow down and think about what you're gonna say. Because sometimes you just get in that mode of not really thinking and just talking and being more intentful, being like slowing down and being still. And I love that about having being behind what you're talking about. It's great. Great stuff.
That piece, though, I've gotten that same years ago. I would say, to be honest, or honestly, and sometimes it's just a filler word
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because the critique I would get back was, well, if you don't say that, are you not being honest with
Right,
me?
right. Exactly.
And that was the feedback I got. And so now I have to have that conscious decision before I speak.
Yeah.
Right. And that goes back to being kind and nice. I think that's a really important distinction. A nice person tells you what you want to hear,
Yes.
right? A kind person tells you what you need to hear.
Yeah, he's loved you
And to
enough.
be able and not be a jerk about it,
Right, right.
right? But to
Right.
be able to always be honest because then if you can trust anything I say,
Mhm.
you're going to have a better relationship with me and
Yes.
I'm going to have a better relationship with everybody else in my
Yeah.
life as well.
Yeah, that's what I tell a lot of the guys on the team is like, do you trust me? Do you trust that we want you to be great? So like, okay, if we tell you to do your bands after practice or like do these things, like we're not just telling you to like big man, yeah. We're not like we want you to succeed. We want and I'm not coming at it like from a malicious like standpoint. And so I don't know, I just feel like the things that I've experienced help with that and like the mentorship and things like that. I mean, I'm super grateful for like a lot of the people around me that kind of make that clear. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah, my role in general is I'm not going to give compliments out just to give a compliment.
Mhm.
I when I say something, I want it to have impact and meaning. So when I do give you a compliment or I do say something, you know, there's no BS behind that.
Right.
And
Right.
it's the same thing with criticism. Criticism or coaching or specifically how you want to define those is I'm not going to give criticism or feedback unless it's asked for.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sit back in silence. But then when people ask me, they know that they're getting exactly what I perceive that they need.
Right.
And if you need me to serve a different role, you have to be able to communicate that as well. And I think that's another thing athletes struggle with is
Mhm.
I don't think I know athletes struggle with it is they don't know who to go to when they need something.
Yeah.
Like if you need me to pat you on your back and say, it's okay, little Johnny, you're the best ever.
Right.
I'm not that guy.
Right. Right.
You can't ask me to do that. That's something, for example, in my own life, I would ask my mother if I
Right.
needed a pat on the back or now my wife, where it's like, I need you to tell me how great I am.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to go to like my father for that.
Right.
Right. Like, that's not the role that they serve in my life.
Right.
And so you have to determine who serves what specific role in your life so that you can go to that person and get the feedback or get that space that you need in those
Yeah.
moments.
Perfect. Yeah. Knowing everybody's role. Knowing that's so true. Like and yeah, I try to. I try to tell like a lot of my my coaches that coach with me, or even in wrestlers in general, like communication's big. And I feel like not internalizing things to where you have a perception of like if you have a problem with something, like come talk to me. Like I'll be straight up. Like what you just said, like, you know, because there are things that have come up or whatever, and some of my wrestlers may think certain way, and it's like if you just come talk to me, it's like what you said, you had a perception of me based on what you saw on TV, and I don't want ever my kids to fear me, but I want them to respect me because I love them, right? Because like when you go into the room and you fear your coach, it's like that's not like that's I want them to know basically one thing, that I love them. And so we have like 3 or 4 L's that we try to preach like at my youth academy is we love them, we lead them, we lift them up if they're going to fail, which they're going to, and then we like let them go in the end. So like letting them go is like when they graduate the program, or like even just on the mat. Because as a coach, you can't make them win, and so you're gonna have to like let them fly. And so loving them first, because I lead with love, not with fear. Um, as a coach, it's super important. I mean, you love is like the greatest power ever, right? And so that gets kids bought in. It gets kids aware that you do care for them, and then you teach them how to wrestle. So I think that yeah, like being intentional with that is super important. So
Letting go is so hard, both as a coach and an athlete. To let go, that concept is such a challenging one to coach.
yeah.
What success have you had learning that let go element and how to actually put it into practice and live action?
So a good thing that I like most coaches you will see in college, like coaching college, and there's guys that are like animated in the corner, and there's times and there's like points in the matches where they let their emotions like kind of get crazy. But most of the time, and this is even with Tom and Terry, and people think they're crazy, but like most of the time, if something's going on that shouldn't be going on, like maybe like their wrestlers down by 8 points, no matter what, as a coach in the corner, you gotta be calm. Like you gotta be consistent because your athlete feeds off of you. And so like if you're down 8-0, or like even if you're my wrestler and you lose, I want the fans to not even know whether you won or lost when we got off the mat. So like I don't want to like obviously like if you win a big match, I'll come over and like I'll give you a hug or whatever. But like I'm gonna be talking to you pretty much the same whether you win or lost, because there's more work to do. Like there's always more work to do. So like you get off the mat, hey, get a cool down in. We're gonna assess this match. Like we're gonna look back and that sucked, and I'll be here for you. Or hey, great match. You did this well. Hey, you maybe didn't do this well. Like I think just being like sometimes some guys will coach with me that are younger, and they're getting amped up and they're freaking out, and I'm like, hey, there's nothing that you can do. Like in this spot right here, there is no like thing. Now you can maybe tell him to go top or go bottom, and he can ride him out, and then maybe that got him a win. But like let him wrestle, go through. Let A great piece of advice I got from a coach was like directed more towards parents, but like you have to let your kid go through the fire. If he doesn't go through the fire, he ain't gonna get burnt, and he's not gonna learn. So like at some point they will get burnt. That sucks, but like it's just the way it is. And the way I feel in matches when people wrestle, I'm it sucks because I got like a lot of them. That's the way all college coaches feel. I'm not regretful, but I am sad at the accomplishments I didn't get. But as coaches, you bring people in and you create relationships with them, and then you want to see them win state, and they didn't get it. That's hard, and they've experienced that year after year, right? But it's not themselves. But I just think as a coach, like letting go and knowing that it is ultimately their life, but you got to do all you can do to get them to where they want to be. So,
If you could pick one thing that you know now that you wish you knew when you were competing at the highest levels, what would it be?
ooh, I'm not even close to my full potential. Like I'm 27 now, and like I don't know. I just feel like I got not stuck or like. you get into a mode like in wrestling, like you hit kind of something similar, like the same kind of moves and things like that. Like I'm not even close to like in freestyle. I started freestyle when I was in college. So like a lot of kids like start freestyle when they're young. So it's a different type of style than folk style college wrestling. But like I wasn't even I could tell like in college, I just think there were times where I was hard headed and like maybe didn't adapt and apply. And then it's like maybe that bit me in the butt or like, and I think that like certain coaches are like, I couldn't get through to you or things like that. Maybe certain things just didn't work out. Like, and maybe it didn't jive with me or resonate with me. And so I didn't apply it when I wrestled. But I just think like developing different areas of my wrestling, I wish I would have known how beneficial certain different like areas were. Cause I'm like learning new technique to like kids. And I'm like, man, I should have done that when I was wrestling in college. Like Tom will like show me like technique later in my career or like just like point something out. And I'm like, maybe I should like just knowledge in the sport, knowing different positions and how to get out of them and things like that. So yeah, you can never stop evolving.
Well, man, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on, my friend. Um, we may have to run it back again.
Yeah,
Again,
let's
I
do
keep
it.
saying this to my guests. I have a whole list of questions I never get to. Uh, we'll have to run it back again.
Let's do it.
If people want to reach out to you, or if there's anything you want to promote, how
Yeah.
can people get a hold of you? And what are you working on right now?
Yeah, so I'm working on growing the best youth wrestling academy in the country. The Hawkeye Wrestling Academy started a couple years ago. I coach kids from 4 years old to high school. If you're in the area of Iowa City and you want to be the best wrestler you can be and be around an environment that lets you grow and you're training in the best environment possible, Carver Hawkeye Arena and the new Iowa wrestling facility that just got built, reach out to us at Hawkeye Wrestling Academy at gmail.com. And we have a website, HawkeyeWrestlingAcademy.com. It's got some dashes in between Hawkeye Wrestling Academy. So, but yeah, just reach out to us if you need. You can DM me on Instagram. Love what I do, but honestly, it's obviously to give God the glory and give Him a platform. And we'll always stay true to that. And I'm unashamed of the gospel. So, yeah, but thank you for having me on, and we got to do it again. So.
Heck yeah, brother. I appreciate it. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. Check us out at athleticfortitude.com. Download the podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel. 5 stars only, baby. See you guys next week. Thanks again, Alex.
Thanks.